a space to be able to think, to be able to ideate, to be able to take ownership of you and take ownership of everything that you're doing, so that you can actually get balance, whatever that is, right? How do we get back into taking ownership of our time, of how we lead, of how we make decisions, of how we decide what we're going to do with our time? In this last week, over the last couple of weeks, I've been invited into so many organizations, and that conversation has always been about balance. And it's incredible how many people seem to be juggling so many plates that they're out of control. So I thought that's what we talk about today. We'll just quickly jump in on that. If you are here live, make sure you say hi in the chat. Give me a big high five, a virtual high five. Let me know where you're calling in from, and it would be great to chat. If you are listening to this as a recording, still say hi in the comments, because I keep my eye on that, and I'll absolutely be sure to respond. Now, if you're loving what you're hearing by the end of this, make sure to subscribe to these videos over on YouTube. We are live streaming in YouTube multiple times a week. And as well as that, we're uploading a whole heap of content throughout the week. So if you press that bell, you will get notice that there's new videos in there. It'd be great to see you over there. So if by the time you get to the end of this live stream, you're going, love that content, make sure you jump on over there. And the other place that we can connect is in my Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, and it's there that entrepreneurs, business owners and executives connect. We connect, and I share all of the tips and tools through my 20-year corporate career and my 10 years of building my own 7-figure business, the tools to connect, to build incredible partnerships that will absolutely help you scale and grow to that next level, to achieve whatever those dreams of success are. So make sure to jump on over there. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's get to the live stream. I am just going to make sure we are recording over here on my phone for later updates, and we will crack on. Okay, so let me just pull up the chat so we can chat if anyone is in there. All right, so here's the thing, right? Over these last few weeks, I've been invited into many organizations. I've spoken to some of my clients individually, and we're a quarter into the year, and so many people are already feeling that they're out of control, that their life is not in balance, that they've lost this ability to be able to think clearly, to be able to lead their personal lives as well as leading their professional lives. Many people are feeling like they're juggling multiple balls in the air. Is that you right now? Have you got multiple plates spinning? Here's the thing, right? If we're not careful, we end up in survival mode. We end up in this survival mode and this mode of being so time poor that we actually can't think, that we are so much in survival mode and so much in a time poor mode that we don't have the ability to think clearly, to percolate, to think outside the box, to even gain perspective on what it is that we're doing, on are we making the right decisions at the right time, on have we actually got the right cadence in place. And the risk is we get exhausted. We get exhausted with trying to manage these multiple spinning plates. But here's the thing, right? Being exhausted is not leadership. Being exhausted isn't inspirational for those people that are working for you or working with you. And being exhausted actually gets you nowhere. You see, what I hear from so many people is they're feeling out of control. And we've got to get you back in control. The second thing that I'm hearing is people just drowning in the sheer amount of stuff that they're having to do at work and in life. And I don't want you to be drowning. I want you to feel like you're thriving, to feel like you're doing the right stuff at the right time to get you closer to those dreams. And this final thing is that because we're out of control and because we're drowning in stuff, we end up getting stuck. We end up actually not moving anywhere. We end up doing a hell of a lot of things, but not necessarily doing the right things that are enabling us to be on fire and moving in that right direction. And so the risk is we spiral out of control. I don't know if any of you are feeling that like that right now, that there's just so much to do. We're spiraling out of control. And actually, we don't want that, do we? We want balance. We want the time to think, the time to lead. We want you to take back ownership. And this fundamentally is what we need to do. If you're feeling like you are surviving, if you feel like you're time poor, then it's a surefire sign that you are out of control. And we've got to reset the boundaries. We've got to reset the ownership. You've got to take back ownership of you, of your time, of the things that you are doing for yourself and your business, so that you can lead and be functioning at your very best. So here's what I want you to consider. I like to think of our lives as almost having 3 plates that we're spinning. You remember when you used to go to the circus, or you'd see these street performers, and they're almost like magically somehow able to have multiple plates spinning in the air. And they've got plates that they are spinning in the air within both hands, and they've probably also got one between their toes that they are spinning, and they're keeping in the air without crashing to the ground. This is what so many of us are doing. We're doing our own equivalent of spinning our plates. I want you to imagine that you have got 3 plates spinning right now. We've got these 3 plates that we are spinning, and somehow we as individuals are trying to keep them all spinning in the air without them crashing. That's your job. This is what we mean when we talk about balance. Mind you, I don't really believe there's such a thing as work-life balance. I call it integration. You're trying to integrate into your life this ability to keep these 3 plates spinning, and to keep them spinning in the right direction. Let's just move that there, because somehow I've got my logo over my face. So we're trying to keep these plates spinning. If we look at plate number 1, let's imagine plate number 1 is your career or your business. And your job is to keep that spinning. My question to you is, how in control of it are you right now? If you had to mark yourself out of 5, with 0 being well and truly in the red, and 5 being I'm on fire, so you had to go from 0 red to 5 I'm on fire, what number would you actually put here in terms of marking you out of 5, yourself out of 5, as to how well you feel you're doing with your career and business right now? Do you feel like you're thriving? Do you feel like you're in control? Do you feel like you're balancing it all okay? Do you feel like you're doing the right things at the right time and making progress? Or do you feel like you're running around like crazy, you're absolutely out of control, that email is insane, the meetings are insane, and you just literally grabbing things as they go, chasing shiny stuff, but not necessarily moving forward? How are you feeling? Do you feel like you're doing awesome and you're marking yourself as a 5 out of 5, or are you actually really struggling here and you're at 0? Now, that's the first plate that you are spinning. That is the first plate that you are trying to make sure you keep in the air. You're keeping in the air. Let's now introduce this second plate. And this second plate has to be spinning too. And this is the plate of those important relationships in your world. So this is the plate of relationships. The important people that are feeding your soul, where you feel like you're on fire, where you're putting in enough energy, you feel like you are getting, this incredible filling your cup every single day. If you think about those important relationships, it could be your partner, it could be your kids, it could be your parents, it could be your friends, it could even be your team and those important clients. Again, if you had to mark yourself out of 5, how are you doing there? Are you putting in enough time? Do you feel like you are nurturing those relationships? Do you feel like those relationships are adding value and you're absolutely investing in them and being intentional in them? If that's yes, then that is an absolute 5. But if when you look in on this plate that's spinning of relationships, is it actually starting to get lower? When you look at it, do you wish you could spend more time with those people? Do you feel like your time is rushed? Are you conscious of the fact that you haven't seen certain people for a while, that you haven't attended the kids' soccer game, or that dinner is rushed and you've not had any time off, any quality time with your friends? Do you feel like you haven't actually had enough time with those key critical people of your team? So once again, if you had to mark yourself out of 5 for those relationships, how are you doing there, with 5 being awesome and 0 being not so good? Now, this final plate, this final one, so again, you've got 2 plates spinning now. You've got the career and the business plate, and you've got those relationships, the important people that feed your soul. This next plate also has to be spinning well. It's got to be spinning at a good pace. We don't want this to crash either. We've got to keep it off the ground. And this final plate is the plate of you. How are you doing? How are you doing? If you think about yourself as a spinning plate, how are you doing? Do you feel like you've got enough time to think? Do you feel like you are functioning at your best? Or do you feel like you are seriously drowning, that you're only just surviving, that you're only just getting through the day? If you are time rich and you are thriving right now and you're able to invest enough time in yourself to function at your best, then mark yourself as a 5 out of 5. But if you seriously feel like you're struggling, if you feel like you're at risk of burnout, or you've just got no time calendar right now, then this is where you've got to actually mark yourself lower on this spinning plate analogy. Now take a look at your spinning plates. Which one is spinning really high right now? Which one is spinning really high? And which one is at risk of crashing to the ground? You see, we don't want any of them to crash. And whilst there's absolutely no doubt that it's really tricky, it's really challenging to have all 3 plates spinning at exactly the same speed, exactly the same height, that's really hard. Irrespective of that, we have to make sure all of them are spinning. There are times, no doubt, where you've got to put more time and energy into work. It could be that you've got a deal you're trying to get over the line. It could be that you have new team members. It could be that you're working on a massive project, and the other 2 plates have to essentially spin a little bit slower. It could be that things have happened at home and suddenly work has to start spinning a little bit slower because you've got to put more time and energy into things that are happening amongst those important people in your world. It absolutely is realistic that these plates are spinning at different speeds. But what is not acceptable is for one plate not to get any love. Because here's the thing, if you let the career plate not spin, if you forget to start investing in that, if you don't have any intentionality to keeping that plate spinning, we make mistakes at work. We get disengaged at work. That plate crashes and something happens at work with our career or our business. If we don't put time and energy into our relationships, into the important people that matter, then that plate is at risk of crashing. And if we don't put time into ourselves so that we are functioning at our very best, which is exactly what the people need around us, our clients, our friends, our suppliers, our network, if we're not investing in ourselves, then that plate is at risk of crashing too. In fact, the statistics right now in terms of the impact on people's well-being, the amount of people that are exhausted, that are at burnout, are out of control. It's quite frightening. It's quite worrying. So your job is to take back ownership and do whatever it is that you need to do to get all of these plates spinning. Now, you know what the answer is to this. What I'd love you to do is to look at the version of your spinning plates and go, what do I need to do? What are the 1, 2, 3 things that I need to do to make sure that I improve the rate at which my business is growing, my career is fulfilling? What are the 1, 2, 3 things that I have to do to ensure that I'm feeling like I'm being nurtured with my relationships, that I'm feeling good, that I feel like I'm adding value, that I'm definitely exchanging value, that I'm fueling my soul, that actually I've had that really great quality time with my kids, my partners, my friends, my parents, my family, whatever it is. And what are the 3 key things that I know I need to do to get this plate of me spinning higher? As I said at the beginning, being exhausted isn't leadership. Being exhausted is not inspiring to your clients, your team, your family, and your friends. And being exhausted gets you absolutely nowhere. In this crazy, crazy world that we are in right now, where we are all operating at an insane speed as we're navigating the incredible challenges that we're all facing as we work through 2021 and out the other side, there is no doubt that the pressure is on. The pressure is on to build and continue to build successful businesses. The pressure is on to perform at our best. The pressure is on to nurture relationships. But there is no one else that can do this apart from you. It is up to you to take ownership. It is up to you to take ownership and be intentional about keeping those 3 plates spinning. What do you need to do to get your business pumping right now? Or your career? You know the 1, 2, 3 things. If you are honest with yourself and you get back on that balcony and you look in, you know exactly what you need to say yes to, what you need to do, and what you need to say no to get that business, that career plate spinning higher. Likewise with the relationships, what do you need to do to get back in control, to get back into taking ownership of the investment that you are putting into the people that are important to you, that fuel your soul, that absolutely cement your why? You know what you need to do. And you also know what you need to do to look after you, to ensure that you are functioning at your very best. If you are not functioning at your best, it doesn't matter how much strategy you've written. It doesn't matter how many programs you are on. It doesn't matter how many books you are reading or podcasts you're listening to or live streams that you're listening to. If you are not functioning at your very best and harnessing that energy to do all the things that you want to do, if you are not functioning at your best, if you are purely surviving, and you are time poor and you are struggling through life and that you're busy, you are drowning and you're stuck and you're out of control, that it doesn't matter how many goals or dreams you have, it's going to be really hard to get there. So the message today, if you are feeling out of control, getting back in control of you, taking ownership of the critical things that you need to do to get your career and business pumping, to make sure that those relationships are being fueled, and to ensure that that plate of you is spinning at its very best, is all down to you. We have to reset our boundaries and we have to take ownership of how we're spending our time, of the things that we are doing to ensure that we are functioning at our very best. So grab a blank sheet of paper, draw those 3 plates, the plate of career, the plate of relationships, and the plate of you. Mark yourself out of 5. 5 being awesome, 0 being not so good, and sit down and commit to the 1, 2, 3 things that you know you need to do that will get each of those plates spinning. Because the last thing we want is for a plate to crash, because once it's crashed, it is really hard to rebuild. Getting back in control of your time and your plan is down to you taking ownership and down to you resetting your boundaries. If you want to know more, make sure to message me at janine@janinegarner.com.au. If you've enjoyed what you've seen today, make sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel and click that bell. And I'd love to welcome you over to my Facebook group. Make sure to jump on over there. Let me know who you are. It would be great to put in the comments that you've heard this video. I look forward to getting to know you more and to further supporting you with lots of tips and tools and ideas of how to build awesome partnerships, awesome collaborations to help you grow your business and your career.